Baby Knoxville Road,
I know.
Back.
and you get to turn left. You got it.
The Bible and World History. I meant to bring it up here with me, but I have it back there if you want to see it. And what this book does is it talks about 3 different historical perspectives, and it puts them all together, right? So like how there's sacred history, which is everything in the Bible, right? And how the biblical history fits into secular history, okay? And then how sacred history also fits in with redemptive history, which is like leading to Jesus coming back, God's plan. So all these different historical perspectives can actually come together, and everything leads towards God's plan, right? Just not everything in history is written in the Bible, but we see how what goes on during these times. So chapter 5 is hope in captivity. We just got done talking about In chapter 4, we talked about the Israelites. They leave Egypt and they go into Canaan, into the Promised Land, and capture it. We talked about how they had really such an easy time doing it, right? Because Egypt was not doing too well because they had a king, had a pharaoh who was trying to change the culture, right? He tried to put things more to a monotheistic perspective, and he wasn't having the people didn't back him, right? And so he was focusing on trying to get them to like him and trade routes and things like that. They ignored all the letters. We talked about those, what they called Armana letters. All these different letters from different city-states in the Canaan area asking for help from these people coming in, these nomad type people coming in and just wiping them out. And that was the Israelites. Pretty cool stuff. Then we talked about David. We'll talk about Saul first, right? And I like him because he's tall. He's a tall guy. And then we talked about David and how then when Solomon became king, that's the first example, that's the first time we now see a dynasty happening here in Israel, right? But then Solomon died and kind of things went downward there, right? Because I think you covered this, Carlin. We had, now Israel split. There was kind of a civil war, now there's a divide. There's Israel in the north and Judah in the south. And that's where we're going to kind of pick up, okay? In chapter 5 here, captivity. This is around 750 BC to 500 BC. Okay, so we're looking at, about 300 years after David became king. He was king around 1000 BC. Okay, so we're talking about just, several generations after him. Okay, so we have 6 discussion questions for this chapter. Okay, number 1 is what caused the nation of Israel to split? Ooh, I said split. I meant split. Well, maybe they were splitting too. Split only 2 generations after David's reign as king. And what does this teach us about the nature of humankind? Number 2, the Old Testament prophets had a lot of say about Israel's fall into sin. What were some of the warnings God gave to the northern and southern kingdoms of Israel through his prophets? And how did God's response to the blatant disobedience of King Ahaz of Judah directly affect the people of Judah? And what does this number 4, how does Buddhism differ from the Bible in its teachings about peace and suffering? Number 5, what do you learn about the nature and power of God from the story of Nebuchadnezzar? And number 6, why would chapter, okay? All right, so change never hurt anyone, but transition kills. So if you've ever been to a class that Joel has taught, he always asks one question after he asks a question. What does it mean? What does it mean? I told him I was doing this, and he approved. So, change never hurt anyone, but transition kills. What does it mean? I think I'm gonna pass you the microphone too, because I've heard that when people watch it online.
change can hurt people. I'll get into it.
I can be your microphone
Thank you.
facilitator, so you don't have to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great. That's great. He said that he doesn't agree with this statement. I just got it from the
Logan, are you alluding to shock?
shock.
Saying that
Revolution, that's a big transition right there, right? And that can actually, yeah, from one government to another, okay? So let's look at changes here. So changes can be external, right? It can be what we do, right? What we want to do. It can be physical and visible, right? It can be just change in places or like things, events, things like that. Changes can be faster, okay? And you can predict what's going to happen. But if you look at a transition, these things can be more internal. Okay? This is who we are, and how we identify. They can be emotional and psychological.
From one nation's rise to another, marked by the typical, things like pain, suffering, death. Those that comes from a big transition. These things, we're going to be talking about these kind of things in this chapter. Okay. Obviously, we know that Israel has split into two, right? Which makes it a little bit weaker. And we all know what happens, right? The Syrians come in, the Babylonians come in. We all know that it's happening. Okay. So we're going to talk about them a little bit more in depth. So they're 50 to 500 BC, and bringing intense distress and affliction. But it's not all